Get the gallery view.
How many more people are joining us?
We lost Milo. He was here a few
31.
seconds.
Alan, didn't you say 31?
Deb's
There
here,
was
but she
we
doesn't
had
have
a
her
max of
camera
31.
on.
Yeah, max of 31. Right.
Hi,
Here, Meryl,
Rebecca.
hi.
Hi, Laura.
Hi,
Meryl.
Bill.
Hi,
How
everybody.
you doing?
Hey.
Everybody is looking great.
Happy 50th to
By the way,
Arthur.
guys,
Milo's
Hi,
back.
Arthur.
Hi,
Yes.
Is Arthur here? Where is
Becky,
he?
I can't believe it.
by the way, guys, I just want
Hey.
to let you know I'm recording. Is that okay?
Yeah, we
Yeah, that would be
Fine,
great.
yeah.
Okay.
Can you hear me?
Put it out, whatever.
Yeah, I'm
Can you-
recording.
yeah.
So be careful what you say because it's on recording.
I think it would be nice
Right.
if everybody told
If you're going to use a
little bit
four-letter
about-
word, it's got to be a four-letter word that I know.
Oh, you know him.
We don't do that anymore. We're
Right.
very politically
Now we want to make
correct
sure
now.
everyone is awake. So I'm going to start with the word person. What follows?
Person.
Person.
Man, woman,
Unit
What's that?
Individual.
TV, camera.
of interest.
I got perfect. Okay, well, we got it. We passed the test. We passed the test.
Can you hear me?
Ooh, great.
How about a portrait?
Thanks.
Getting more people.
All right.
Nancy.
Okay, I don't see Deb anymore.
Let's see.
Abby, is that you
Yeah.
coming on?
People are on here now.
Milo, there you are.
Yes,
Oh, I
my-
like your beard.
Milo, you look like a rabbi.
Who's that? Meryl, hi.
Hi, how are
Hi,
you?
Gaval.
How are you?
I'm good, I'm good.
Nancy.
Oh, Arthur.
Janet.
Yeah, I threw it out also to Mark Hinckley, but I don't know what Mark didn't get back to me.
Sue.
I asked Mark Hinckley if he can get. Remember
Glenn was
Mark
interested.
Hinckley?
Mark Hinckley.
Yes, of course.
Glenn Farron was interested,
Julian.
but I don't know. I think it was.
I didn't get a
closed.
hold of Julian. Julian lives in a cave right now. Didn't get a hold.
Well, you all look great.
People just
You
don't want to
look
be on
great.
Facebook.
I can't believe what New York City has become, though. It's
Yeah.
sad.
The whole country.
Hello.
Nope, it's
Did
not
you
the city
again.
we grew up in, that's for sure.
I
Well, how's
know.
it changed?
Empty and then
Well, I don't live in
Hello.
New York, so somebody tell me how has it changed that much?
It's Oh, not fun. Let me see what it It looks really isn't. The museums are closed.
Hello.
Thanks.
Restaurants are
There's
closed.
not much
There's no
going
activity.
Theaters are closed.
Milo, we hear you.
Theater.
We hear you, Milo.
Okay, good, Alan.
We hear
You
you.
can't go
I
bowling.
don't- I-
I'm
Milo,
waiting for you to recant
Hi,
from
guys. How you doing?
Hi.
Hi.
how are you, Mr. Hess? You look great.
I'm doing
Yeah, I
fine,
love
thank
you
you.
post.
Now I can see everybody. Hi.
Hi.
Sorry, I was on
Love
my
your
phone before
postcards.
anyone, so I switched now to iPad.
Yeah, guys,
So
if
good to
you
see you
haven't
all.
used Zoom before, in the top right-hand corner, there's a speaker view there. Top right-hand corner, you click on that. Make sure you can see everyone. It
I see
should have a
gallery.
little button on top.
The button that says
Oh,
record.
Eve's coming on.
gallery.
Hi, Eve.
There's Eve.
Hi, Eve.
Hey. Gallery view.
Eve, how are you feeling?
I got it.
Much better, thank you.
Good. That's the important thing.
Eve, where are you? Are you in your studio? Are you in like one of those
Yeah.
sets or something? Are you on camera or something?
No, but you see that blue curtain behind me there?
Is that a blue screen? I got it.
That's what I put up here when I have to do.
Eve, my red carpet heroine, you're wonderful.
What a greeting, guys! It's so great to see you. Hi, John. Wow,
Hi,
you're
Eve.
it now.
Hey, my love, how do you feel?
I'm much better.
Great, great.
So,
Tammy,
Yeah.
is that you?
hi.
That's what I said.
What did you say?
Tammy, have you been back to the old stomping grounds?
What's
No,
that? What's
not
old
recently.
stomping grounds?
I don't know if my microphone's working.
It is.
We can hear you.
We can hear you. So be careful what you say, okay?
Long Island City.
You're being recorded, so just so you know.
Long Island City. Yeah, I actually have to go empty an apartment there. My stepfather passed away a couple of weeks ago.
Sorry to hear.
Listen, if you come in, meet you there because I still own my mom's apartment there.
Really?
Yeah, I'm right now I'm renting it out, but I still own my mom's apartment in Felicia.
We can't do that. Who said that? Wait a minute.
Bill,
Jill.
Remember me?
Yeah, but I can't find
Wait
you.
from you.
You gotta swipe the screen.
I know, but I can't read the things.
So your name-
Hi,
Jill, the
Andrea.
last picture I saw of you.
Tammy, I lived across the street from you.
Wait, no, Jill, I know who you are, but I can't find you.
So who
have
who still lives in the neighborhood they grew up?
I do.
If you sort of swish, you'll see a whole other group
But
of people because there's more than can fit on one screen. So I didn't see you at first, and then I swished, and there you are. And now I can't see myself, but I know what I look like, so it's okay.
Andrea, I see you.
See
Hi, Andrea.
Hi.
Get to see 4 people,
Oh,
including
Jill,
me.
I found you. I found you. Hi, okay.
Okay. So Jill,
Oh,
let me
Alan?
know when you come in and I'll.
We're
meet
not allowed to rent ours. We can't rent it.
Oh, mine isn't.
Okay, we'll talk
No.
about it.
Yeah, we'll talk.
So I was wondering, do we want to go to each one and like spend a little time, everyone, and I could just say who you know, like Sue, you want to start first and tell us a little bit about what's been happening with you? Then we'll just kind of move through.
Alan, how could you say that? What's
First
been
of
happening?
all,
It's only been 50 years.
yeah. First of all,
What's been happening?
Give me give me the elevator speech, they say.
yeah. It's very nice to see everybody. It's really.
What's been happening in 50 years?
I'm just going to tell you that I was teaching also for a lot of time in New York City. I'm based in New York City still. And I also did a lot of coordination of activities, different activities for the City University.
Uh-huh.
Currently, I'm at home like everybody else, and I'm job hunting. Haven't retired yet, although, boy, this is the last job. Whatever I get, that's it. I'm surrounded by art. My mom's an artist. My husband's grandmother's an artist. And if he sticks his head in, you'll see my husband. But he's a computer. That's Tom. He's a computer person. And basically,
Is it right behind you?
I'm into gardening. Yeah, the one who just spoke by, that's Tom. And I've been doing mostly using my creative work in the garden because it's a way for me to get out of the house, which is driving me crazy being stuck in this house. And the other thing that I've been doing is I've been trying to set up Zoom meetings with people. So I was just saying I'm getting people from all over the place, my cousins I haven't spoken to in years, together to have a Zoom cousin meeting. So that's my big thing that I'm working on right now. And it goes across the continents from California to England and hopefully even Israel. So that's what I've been doing, guys.
That's great. Hey guys, I have to step away for a second. You guys keep talking. I'm gonna be back like in 2 minutes. But just keep going. I'll tell you what, Michelle, why
We
don't you
talk amongst ourselves.
Well, no, Michelle, why don't you take it away?
Hi, I've been probably the only person here in this group who hasn't been in art. Graduated from A&D and I went to Wisconsin where I majored in political science.
Ooh,
French.
cool.
They totally out of the art world and then got a job in banking, and for most of my career I was senior executive at Bank of America, believe it or not, and knowing nothing, never taking an econ course, banking course, or a math course after A&D. So lately I've been working late in a local telecommunications company, but we'll be retiring soon, talking about getting a package right now, and can't wait. My husband died 6 years ago, but he was older, so it's not a big deal. Love living by myself. I'm in New Jersey.
Sorry.
Are you in
it's
New
not a
York
big deal.
now? Michelle, are you in New York now or are you out of New York?
I'm in New Jersey, in central Jersey, a town called Metuchen. It's kind of
I know
right
the place.
near Woodbridge, or yeah.
I have
I've
cousins
been here for 30 years.
It's a nice
I used to take my son to hockey rinks near there.
Oh, my grandson was big hockey. He graduated from Ryder last year, but he was on the hockey team there. Loves hockey, so yeah.
There as well.
Very familiar with the hockey stadium.
I have a 10-year-old grandson who loves hockey.
Oh.
And is at the end of the summer, they have enclosed hockey camps that they're making.
Yeah.
Play hockey with my cane, trying to pick up a
They're a
roll of
little
toilet
chilly.
paper that slipped. if I can get it into the cardboard, I can manage to get it up. So that's basically my physical prowess at the moment. But no more trains.
Helene, when is your operation going to be?
I have to have a second endoscopy the day after my birthday on September 1st.
Oh, so
before-
That's my husband's birthday.
Really? Well, you have to do that to make sure I'm not high risk anesthesia before they'll proceed with that. So they knocked off all those awful things that we put off, like colonoscopies and everything that I'm reminded old I am, and that I've never had this and I've never had that. So the only reason I stopped working, I'm a licensed insurance broker for the last 26 years. Also a notary, if anybody needs. And,
Good to know.
All the same age.
my office in downtown Brooklyn literally closed on my birthday, the day that I started my Social Security benefits at full age for us, which was 66. So I planned on continuing working. I was able to drive, getting in and out of the car. I just need, the walker to get around. And I came in one day and there was a poster on the window out of the 7 brokerages that my employer owns, that my brokerage was now officially closing Labor Day weekend. And they offered me a raise and a position in their Long Island City office, which is a 3-hour commute at Island, one way in traffic.
Oh, God.
My husband said, forget it, you're not going over the bridge in the BQE anymore. So that ended that. And for the first time in my life, I went on unemployment for the 6 months and collected Social Security. And I just, I do a lot of drawing. I spend a lot of time with my daughter and communicating with grandkids across the nation until they can come and visit me. I'm not a frequent flyer, and I thought I'd be seeing Pearl today because I heard that the trips to Florida are $14, and she's only the only one on the plane every time she posts me a picture. I don't think I could do that. John, how about you? Are you a flyer?
No, I wouldn't do it.
I just want to say that it's really good to hear some still live New York accents again.
Right.
I live on an
kids
island
here
off
in
the
Houston?
Northwest now, and to hear the word drawing said with an R in it, like it's
And
a really
New
nice
York.
thing.
New York.
You miss us. You miss the East Coast.
I do.
I've been
We can
accused
all
of being
get-
a nanny.
We could all talk in
My
New
accent.
York, We can all just kind of go back in time, and remember when we were like kids, when we talked like this. It was, hey, forget about it, right?
I don't know. I still think about our train and bus and lengthy walks and all meeting with the portfolios out of Bloomingdale's and Alexander's and jamming into the Plaza Art Store for those nickel razor blades to shave our pencils. Now forget about it. You got to take your shoes off at an airport, and they got to check the inside of my brassiere, and where else am I hiding something? Because we have so many new hiding flabs that we could put things in. And
Well, I just want to tell
how many
you
pills
guys,
do you have to take now?
there are no more portfolios. It lands up that I married the gentleman who used to make our portfolios.
Can't hear you.
I said I married the gentleman who made our portfolios.
Really?
Really?
And so that after we all graduated, I met a really nice man whose father owned a company called Saigo. And I said, okay, what's Saigo? And he says, we do these big black things that the artist students carry. I started laughing. And then I went home and I pulled out one of my artist portfolios and I showed it to him. He says, yeah, we made those.
Yeah.
So
That's funny.
he went out of business 20 years ago. And my husband's father wanted to retire, and my husband was working with him. And after that, you know, they sold it, and we went past the factory where they were being made now in South Jamaica, Queens. They used to be made on 28th Street down the block from FIT. And we went past the
Bring her over
factory.
here. She can say hello to my classmate.
And it just went, and I don't know, they set it on fire, whatever, it just didn't work. But what happened was when my husband started seeing computers coming in, he realized there was not going to be any more business for the portfolios. So, no, whatever. But it's very funny because I really, after I graduated art and design, I went on to FIT, and when I came out for about 5 years, or I'd say, I worked in industry, and then I had my kids, and I stopped working in the industry, and I've had numerous jobs throughout the years, but right now I am an assistant art teacher at a private school on Long Island.
Long Island.
Love every minute of it because I'm not the head teacher. So I don't have to deal with parents. I don't have to deal with grades. I don't have to deal with necessarily coming up with projects. But I'm keeping my hands now in the art, and I love it. So,
are you going back in September?
Still being decided, I don't know, because I don't know whether I want to, depending on how they're going to have the art situation set up. I've been told that a couple of the private schools in New York are going to do art via Zoom to keep the kids in their pods. But I go back on August 25th, and I guess they'll tell us then. But it's interesting because all the specialty teachers are around our age. The music teacher and the science teacher and stuff. And we all haven't made a decision as to whether we are going to go back or not.
Well, I just made a decision. I sub here in Houston for a lot of private schools. And to July 4th, there were 2 schools that sent out a letter to the teachers and the subs what their proposals were. Initially, they were going to do Monday, Wednesday, Friday in class, and then Tuesday, Thursday virtual so that the schools could get cleaned. Or the parents had an option of just doing all virtual, and they were going to let them know, they were saying to the parents that they would let them know by the 31st. But a week after that letter, they changed it, and no one is going back.
Interesting.
They even bought, like in Denmark, they made these plexiglass cubicles for each desk for the kids to be able to sit, you know, even with social distancing in the classroom. And the teachers were supposedly going to have to wear a mask and a shield, but now virtual till after Labor Day, because they start early here in Houston.
Exactly.
So, I was asked to sub for maternity leave for a couple of months, and I just said, you know, we are a hot spot now, and I said if it calms down, I would think about it, but I told them I'm not going. My daughter-in-law is an ER doctor at Methodist Hospital, and she said, don't go in.
Well, my
Don't
grandson,
go in.
my grandson is in a special ed program in New Jersey, and my kids are really upset because they just informed them, because of my kids' work, that what they are doing is he's going to be Monday, Thursday of the week in school, and the following week he will be home. And they're going to be doing like the flip flip-flop, 1 week in, 1 week out, but it's only 4 days a week. And with my kids
Excuse
both
me.
Not interested in me.
it's gonna be very hard, so they're not sure what they're gonna do. So I may land up retiring and driving to Jersey every day to see if I need to help them out. We'll have to,
Right. Just don't let down your guard.
Well,
Don't let down your guard.
we didn't give Laura a chance to talk. We sort of started, we got up to Laura. And
Me?
Laura, I want to hear, yes, you. I want to hear what's
Laura,
on
your
you.
turn.
Okay, well, do I do the elevator speech or just?
Elevator speech, whatever.
You know, so I'm here in New Jersey, but I've been an art therapist probably for 35 years. I did teach in a graduate program for 15 years for art therapy, and I've published a couple of chapters. I love my work. My specialty's been bereavement in the last 25 years, but I'm simplifying my life now and was moving towards retirement this year anyway so that we could travel. But now I just don't know when that will be since we can't travel. And my big dream is to just really start doing artwork again because I miss that. Oh, and our 2 adult sons who live in New York and work in New York have been quarantining with us here in New Jersey for the last couple of weeks, and they're the people I'm waving at the other end of the room.
By the way, guys, if you're not talking, put yourself on mute. Because
I can't hear you.
Can you hear me now?
Yes.
If you're not speaking, put yourself on mute because we're getting feedback. So maybe there's something going on in someone's background, which is unfortunate. So, so if you're
did you hear what I said?
No, it
No,
was my computer.
Is that you?
Oh, hi, Deb.
Hi. I couldn't figure out how to get on either one of my computers, but I figured it out on my phone. But I couldn't figure out how to turn off the computer. That was the feedback. I'm sorry.
No problem.
Okay.
No problem. That's okay. It's just
Yeah,
that-
but they should
yeah,
take,
if you're not going, if you think you're going to,
I don't want to say it again. So nobody heard anything I said?
No,
Yeah, we heard you.
we heard you.
we'll do this
Yeah,
again
okay.
one more time.
Yeah.
Person,
But yeah,
man, no, just kidding. Okay.
I just have to run, guys, but I get
Oh,
to
Milo,
Well,
we're
can
so
you?
proud of you. You do such fabulous work, and we're so proud of your achievements.
Milo,
Thank you guys
tell
very
us
much.
about what you did. What's going on with you, real quick? Gotta go.
I just really have to run, Alan. I have to run.
Okay.
Good to see you, Milo.
Bye-bye, guys.
See you.
Bye.
Bye.
I
Thank you. Good
Thank
seeing
you for
man.
coming. Okay, that was quick. We lost somebody. And we're missing about, what, 20 people out of 31?
we
Yeah.
haven't heard from Rebecca.
Okay. I was looking
Arthur.
forward to this and very scared because unlike Eve, I'm not used to the limelight. Look, Eve, I got my A&D shirt and it says never underestimate the
John.
power of a woman who graduated the High School of Art and Design, if you guys could say.
Where can we find that?
Gotta take that.
On her lane.
I
can find
ordered
it
it
on the link.
online. It came online on one of those Facebook ads for some reason. And I had it for our 45th, but I was too embarrassed to open up my shawl to show it, that I had gained so much weight. But I covered it up by letting my hair grow. So I'm not black haired anymore. I'm completely blonde and it's all mine. And I didn't go for a touch up because now it comes in white. When it was black, it came in white. When it was blonde, it came in black. I can't win. So I'm back to blonde and I'm never getting it cut. So my goal is to become the Grandma Moses of Staten Island and continuing to, I do mostly drawing like all the time. I do portraits. So if you guys see my site on my Facebook, that's basically what I do. And I try to get some of my classmates here and there and decide who would be next. I'm very close with John Chukarico. who lives around the corner where my mom lived. My mom, as you may know, passed away a month ago at 95, joining my dad, and dearly missed, you know. We know she had a long life, but my parents worked till they were both 78 and 79 years old, doing insurance and other various things that I write about. But my daughter misses them dearly, so I have to cover now for that loss because there's no more family left. Every aunt, every uncle. I have one aunt left, and she is now filled the shoes of my mother as the elder of the family. So after that, that leaves me as the elder, which is hard to conceive now, isn't it? That we are the...
Did you find your candy?
How old now? My good friend Wally's going to be 70, our friend Wally, in January, so he beats us all out by a year. Unfortunately, you know, he lost his son recently, as you know, so that's been very, very hard on him. But we try to speak as often as we can. You know, you guys are all on Facebook with me, so anytime, you know, just want to chat or send a private message. I'm home in that recliner with this walker, and for me, it worked out unfortunately well because I don't have to be outside unless it's to get to a doctor appointment. And even then, the funeral was like the worst. I couldn't believe it. There was no chapel service. You know, everybody got black masks. I mean, was that funeral appropriate? I don't know, but it's the only one that I have with me, the same one for Mom's funeral. So I whip that out when I'm in the car, and all my drivers I actually know because the insurance that I did all these years were for the New York Taxi and Limousine Commission. So I'm aware of their plight. Citizen.
Bless you.
Some of us that still learn to speak a little Yiddish from our parents and our heritage. Not everybody, but we did. You too. You too. So how many teachers are you in touch with? Who's still alive? I know Max, you know, I see him all the time, still functioning and still giving classes and still selling paintings for multi-thousands.
Does anyone know what happened to Mrs. Piggott?
I didn't hear the name.
Mrs. Piggott.
No, I know. I have not.
Fashion design teacher.
She was, yeah. She was an amazing woman, really an amazing woman. I don't know if she's still alive.
I think we just have to Google everybody because that's how I found out what teachers died, you know, while looking for a former classmate and then finding out that my very good friend Marie Truzano, which was years ago now, was my bridesmaid and that she passed away some years ago. So I did not know. She married one of our classmates, Joe Cinquemani, if anybody remembered him. And he remarried, but he refuses to join our group for some reason. So his loss, too sad.
Has anybody been back to art and design into the building?
The new building? Passed it a few times. It's beautiful, but
I've been in it. I've been in it. You had, there was some kind of event there maybe 3-4 years ago. We bought T-shirts and whatever.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
Yeah, you guys went on a tour, right, of the new place?
But yeah, so you've been, so you guys, so Eve, you were at the new one.
It's lovely.
The new one.
It actually, it's very beautiful. Really nice.
It's done. It's very contemporary. All the little bells and whistles.
Yeah.
I was very impressed by the student work. Even things that I'm not interested in, like comic book art, and I found an architecture. I found the architectural class had some really wonderful, even the matchbook, they had done some matchbook art. I was very, very impressed by the younger generation of artists. And,
I saw the art also. It was really impressive. Listen, I don't want to interrupt anybody, but I don't want to have this session go by without us catching up. And I'd really like to hear from everybody. So
thank you, Sue. There's so many people who we haven't heard from.
Okay, Phil, you're next. On my screen, at least.
Yes, you're next on my screen. I really want to hear where everybody is now.
Phil, unmute yourself.
I unmuted myself. All right. I too didn't really stay in the art world. And in fact, just as I graduated from A&D, I made changes in my college plans, and I actually went off to a theological college, and I eventually became a pastor and served now. It's been about 47 years. So it's been interesting. Of course, I used my art skills in all of my advertising and outreach and everything else. And to this day, I still enjoy doing that. I have 2 kids, 2 adult kids. One lives in a dungeon in my basement. No, she and her husband and her 1-year-old boy, like a miracle kid. He was a in vitro fertilization kid. And my daughter's a riot. She has more T-shirts for him. One T-shirt says, "When my parents had me, they weren't fooling around." And then there's another one that says, "I'm so cool because I was frozen." And so it's really nice having them close. And then my son, my oldest kid, has 4 kids of his own, and he lives in East Africa, in Uganda, and Uganda has like I don't know, a handful of COVID-19 cases. It's just, they had a big panic in their city out in southwest Uganda because they had 8 cases and they were in this big panic. I'm like, amateurs, you know, we got to show them how to panic. But anyway, that's been my life. In fact, and somebody said before they were a licensed insurance agent, because I'm in the process of retiring, I got my real estate license. And so if you ever want to move to beautiful Southern Maryland, just down the road from Washington, D.C. In fact, I live right off of Pennsylvania Avenue, down in Southern Maryland. You want to come move down here? I'll find you a nice house.
Thank you, Phil.
All right. It's good to see you all, really. And I agree about the accents. Love to hear it. My grandchildren would get such a kick out of me or seeing their cousins from Staten Island, and they would kind of like make fun of the cousins of all the stupid things. And they would say, "How you doing? How you doing?"
Forget about it.
Yeah, you know. And they still do that when they're in Africa. They talk that way, just as a joke to one another. But anyway. Good.
Alan, can't hear you, Alan.
Alan, you're muted.
Can't hear you.
You're muted, Alan.
It's how you doing. Not doing. How you doing?
How you doing?
How you doing? Hey, how you doing?
It's hi, y'all.
Cheryl, you're next. How are you doing?
First of all, I want to say that I'm so delighted to see everybody. Some of you I've been in touch with over the last few months and years, and Jill lives like right around the corner practically from me. Yeah. And some of you I think about all the time. Tammy, I go to LA all the time. My daughter lives in Westwood, and I rent a place in Santa Monica. So I've been thinking about you over the past years. And Deb, I see everybody on my blog. Everybody says hi and how you're doing, so it's lovely. On Fridays, I write a Shabbat Shalom blog. I'm not an Orthodox Jew, but I don't know, it started that way, and I am very traditional and have very strong feelings about Israel, so I write about different things like that. I retired about 2 years ago. I have, as I said, 1 daughter in LA and 2 children in New York. My son just became a creative director at a major advertising agency. And currently I use my retirement to write. I'm writing a book, I write my blog, and I'm painting a 15-foot mural in a religious school. And I'm very happy in my life, and I'm very grateful, that we all reconnected. So it's lovely to see everyone.
I look forward to your Friday Shabbat Shalom synopsis of the week. So don't stop doing that. And I admire the fact that you have carried on traditions that many have left behind. Unfortunately, God should be a part of everybody's life, especially in these times. And I don't see it happening.
It is very difficult times, but I love seeing Andrea's postcards and Janet's work, and we're all fans of Eve and Laura. By the way, my first master's was in art therapy from NYU. My second one was in library science, where I was a school librarian for many years, and I taught art. And I had enough credits for a third one, but I said, I'm not writing another thesis, so that was some reading. So I have all the education I ever want. Well, I wouldn't say I want, but that I'm going to apply for. So there I am. So, and I have 6 grants.
No.
6 grants.
And I also look forward to your posts. I get so much out of reading them, Cheryl.
Cheryl, what advertising agency is your son working at?
AIG. It's a bunch of initials. It's on 34th Street. It's AIG. I'm not sure.
Oh,
I'll let you know next time. I'll text you.
okay, no
I'll
problem.
post it. I'll post it on my Friday thing, everybody.
Meryl, you got so skinny. What's going on?
Me?
Yes, Meryl.
Go ahead, Meryl.
You lost a
Hi.
lot of weight like me too.
Yeah, I did.
You look wonderful.
Thank you very much. You too. And everybody here looks really good. It's nice to see everybody who's on this. Well, about 20 some odd years ago, I left New York and moved to California. And Dino and I live in an area called Bermuda Dunes, which is right on the border of Palm Desert, which is near Rancho Mirage where I work. I, like a lot of people, I am not in the art world, even though art is, will always be a part of my life. I went into healthcare. I did sub for a while in New York State, and then I wound up volunteering on an ambulance service in the Spring Valley area, which was my transition into healthcare. So for over 30, 40 years, I managed dermatology practices, and including a large department in Washington in a hospital. It was an outpatient clinic. And down here in Rancho Mirage, I work at Eisenhower Medical Center. Unlike everyone who works in the art field and everything else, I go to work with a mask on, which I wear all day long, and goggles. I work in a non-clinic environment, but nonetheless, we wear masks and goggles, over our eyes and glasses. Our area has been a hot spot lately. Yeah, it's in Riverside County, California, where a lot of cases have popped up because people got very lax and people don't want to wear a mask. It's hot here. And you have that all over the country. It's not just where I live. Anyway, and the kind of work I do in a non-clinical environment is basically really on the financial side at this point. And it is focused on the derm. There's a large derm clinic that we have.
I don't see anyone. Yeah.
What happened here?
Somebody's calling.
I don't know. Anyway, long story short, I've been in Eisenhower for over, it's been 10 years. And so, and that's where I'm at. I'm 6 minutes away
How about
from
the
work.
fires? Are they anywhere near you?
They're 50 miles away. But we've, that's a large fire. And unfortunately, it's in a very beautiful area. But that's what happens in most of the fires in California are caused by arson, and so was this one. Some people notice somebody's igniting something, so now they're searching for the person.
Go on there.
So,
We're going to meet.
and that's the story.
I think we're Jill, we skipped you.
Well, sort of, but Meryl, I just wanted to show you, I don't know if anyone can see. This is how my son goes to work.
Yeah.
My son happens to be a doctor here in New York, and he's masked up, he's covered up, and everything else. And he and his wife are both doctors. He's a pain management doctor on Long Island, and his wife is a GI fellow at Mount Sinai in Manhattan.
This is how I go to work.
So-
If you could see this.
Yeah, so if you see that, that's how the kids are looking.
Yeah.
Like I said, I haven't left Queens. I went from Long Island City. I now live in an area called Fresh Meadows, which is practically around the corner from Cheryl. We're walking distance. We're about a mile and a half from each other. We get to see each other once in a while. We get to do things. I have 3 kids. My oldest daughter is a nurse. My middle daughter is a teacher, and my son, as you can see, is a doctor. Like I said, I started in fashion. I started in
I
fashion.
got a nice daughter for her.
I started in fashion, left when I had my kids, started my own business, which was a party planning business. I've done all of Cheryl's invitations. Still in the invitation business. I'm known around the circuit as the Printing Princess, and it's spelled P-R-I-N-T Princess.
What?
And it started as, you know, at home business when my kids were little, where I was doing art. I was doing hand-painted sign-in boards. I was making centerpieces. I was doing all kinds of fun things. My husband sold the business, so somebody had to go out and get a job. So for 15 years, I worked in an ophthalmology practice. I was front desk main person on there. Finally had enough of that, decided to go back to art, and I have been going back and forth working at different schools, teaching art and being the art assistant and having fun now. I call it my pre-retirement job, you know? And I just enjoy life. I have 7 grandchildren. The oldest is 18, going down to 7 months. I really should say I have 8. I lost 1 granddaughter. It lands up that my middle daughter has a disorder called DiGeorge syndrome, and she's missing part of one of her chromosomes. And what happened was we didn't know, it was never diagnosed properly. And she had a baby, and the baby was born with a heart problem, and my son was in medical school. And my son came in and said to me, "Ma, doesn't these pictures look like Karen looked when she was a baby?" And I said, "Yeah, maybe. Why?" He says, "That's DiGeorge syndrome. And if this is what the baby that Karen was carrying has, there's going to be a lot worse problems." Well,
Oh, here's one person.
so, and like Phil was saying, her next children were in vitro, and they're wonderful. So, you know, so I can say I either have 7 grandchildren.
Hi, John.
But
Hi, Joyce.
vitro is a way of, you know, anyone who has problems, and it's wonderful. And, you know, let us keep, you know, going on with life. That's the way.
Oliver, who's Marilyn Monroe who just came on?
Is that Joyce?
Yeah, but why am I Marilyn Monroe?
Because you're gorgeous.
Oh, thank you. Yeah, I was driving before. I just got to my sisters. I don't know how to do
You know,
this.
last time we saw everybody, they still had black hair, so that was at the 45th reunion.
And now we're all wearing glasses.
Yes, I can't see unless I do. I tried not to, but too much squinting, right, Deb? Where's your glasses?
I only need them for distance, and I got the phone in my hand.
Ah.
So I don't see everybody at once. I just see the person who talks. Is that it?
How about a gallery view up there?
I'm actually blind right now, and I have to touch the screen to see everyone.
I just saw on the top is gallery view, so then everybody comes up like
Yeah.
like we're on Jeopardy.
Upper right-hand corner.
I don't see that. I just see record by my face.
Are you on the iPad?
I'm on my iPhone.
Oh.
Yeah, it's kind of small.
That's fine.
I don't see any squares. Oh, hi.
See?
Somebody's
with the
talking,
curly
so
hair.
I think if someone is speaking.
Yeah, Arthur, it's your turn. Arthur, you gotta take yourself off mute.
Yeah.
Hello. Nice to see everybody.
Hi, Artie.
Hi, Artie.
I haven't
Hi, Arthur.
I haven't seen some of you in 50 years.
You saw me at the theater.
I saw you
Hi, Artie.
months ago, Deb.
Yeah.
Hi. How are you? So I graduated and went to Cooper for architecture, and I've been in architecture pretty much all my career, and went into interior design, actually corporate interiors, after that, and retired about 6 years ago now. But I've been doing freelance work, and I'm the president of my co-op board, which keeps me busy. And I moved to Bronxville, New York, about 3 years ago, which is a very unlikely place for anybody Jewish. But it's actually great. And it's 30 minutes from the city. And I really like it up here a lot. And I lived in Columbia County for about 11 years, had a house there, I should say, a second home. And that's pretty much it. I mean, I've moved around a lot. I've lived in New Orleans, lived in Brooklyn and Queens and Manhattan, and now up here. So that's pretty much what I've been doing.
Good to see you.
good to
Rebecca,
see
you're in the dark, so you gotta put your light on. Can't even, I barely see you.
We
You're
can't
in the
see
dark.
you.
Yeah, put some light on. You're next. No, you just muted yourself.
You're on mute.
Oh, you talking to me? Yeah,
Yeah.
the light in here is really
Yeah.
not
You're
good.
talking to
It's
me?
very dim, and different attempts at fixing it for Zoom don't work very well. So I'm sorry. I've got the natural light on me, and I actually got my chandelier on top and a light on the side. So that's the best I can do right now.
That's fine, Rebecca. That's okay.
Sorry. See if I turn
Hi,
my.
Becca.
Who just said hi? Who just said hi?
Tell us about
I
you.
say hi, yeah.
Okay, so a lot of stuff has happened in the last, well, I mean, in the last 50 years, a lot of stuff has happened, but I've seen most of you at different get-togethers since then. 2 years ago, I had been working, I left art as far as a career a long time ago because I decided I wanted to dance when I left high school, which I did. I trained, and first I was in modern, and then I met this amazing teacher named Donald Farnworth. I don't know if you've ever heard of him, who actually, he got me on point, something I never thought I would do. And I taught for years and choreographed, and I performed some. I made different small companies, but I made most of my money teaching and teaching the technique that I was taught. And I also worked in word processing and proofreading and things like that to support myself, since you never make enough money teaching in the arts, so at least privately. I also had a stint with the public school system teaching. I went through alternate route, and the principal and I did not get along because he wanted to keep things on a very, I wanted the kids to excel and really learn the professional level of art, and he wanted them to just get a very general idea of things, so we split. And in the last couple of years, things have been very dicey for me. First, after working in this law firm for 13 years, I was let go, and I went on unemployment. And I'd also had to have a hip replacement because I had arthritis in my left hip. And while I was on unemployment, my husband and I went on a trip in our car, and we had a terrible car accident. And he ended up dying from he had a head injury, and he ended up dying from that. So the last 2 years have been, and he didn't have a will, and last 2 years have been a struggle with unemployment, straightening out his estate. I did start working with choreographing again. And I've been working with the Garden State Opera, but of course that stopped when we were going into the schools. The director had composed an opera about the Patterson silk strike, and it was being subsidized. The money was being subsidized by the Patterson Cultural Council, but everything had to stop, when the pandemic happened. And I've also been teaching for Huntington Learning Center, tutoring, and I like that a lot. But unfortunately, that's all stopped. Everything closed down when the pandemic happened, and they tried to get us to teach online, but only a few students signed up for it. So I'm still without work. I'm on unemployment. I'm on the pandemic assistance unemployment. I mean, I'm doing okay. So far, that's been good. I actually make more money on the unemployment than I was making teaching. But that's all going to stop because the supplement is being discontinued now. So, but I'm okay. I mean, I'm fine. But it just since I was in the performing arts and in education, there's really very little work. I'm trying to get remote work, teaching, and I just applied for a job editing and educational editing, like editing students' essays and things like that. But so far, no bites. The whole world is looking for work. It's like the worst unemployment that we've had in, they're saying since the Depression now. That's what they're saying. More people are filing for unemployment than ever before. Yeah. So that's what's going on with me.
I wish you luck, Rebecca.
Yeah.
We all do.
Thank you.
We all do, dear.
Yeah.
Yeah, we
John,
all do.
John
Everybody
is
is suffering somehow,
Yeah.
whether it's physically, emotionally. I'm a 9/11 survivor, as you know, and that's how I first got hurt, with my right leg falling through a tugboat.
Oh no, I didn't know that.
To my daughter, and it just progressed and progressed, and I just kept working. And every year that I put 5 pounds on, I said, "So what?" Another 5 until it became another 100 and more. So I'm hoping to get everything back into movement, so I can get outside with my daughter. I actually live right across the street from historic Richmond Town, where our front view is the famous historic Decker Farm with the original barns and
What
homes.
state are you in? You're in Virginia?
Staten Island.
Oh, Staten Island, that Richmond. Oh, that, okay.
Yes. So
Aline, I lived across the street from Halteman's Bakery.
That's on Arthur Kill. Yeah,
But I
not
have
too
been
far.
doing though, I forgot. I've been doing a lot of stuff on Zoom. Like I've got Tai Chi, 2 different Tai Chi classes, a chair yoga class, and I do a lot of folk dancing. I was doing a lot of folk dancing before, and a lot of the groups are on. Of course, you can't hold hands and dance in a circle, but people put the music on, and we all meet on Zoom, and we dance in our living room. And,
People are getting very creative with Zoom.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But the only thing is with Zoom, when I want to dance, my cat thinks she wants to dance too.
Why not?
But her idea of dancing is, I don't know if you can see this, lie in the center of the floor on her back.
Black cat.
It's moving. That's all that matters. Keep moving.
Well, she's not moving. That's the problem.
That's what I'm told. Just
I have
keep
to dance
moving.
I have to dance. Yeah, I am. Actually, I think I'm better off now physically than I was before because I'm taking so many, you know, therapeutic things. The Tai Chi is really, really good for me, and
Good.
chair yoga. And
Beautiful.
I've clocked my steps, folk dancing, and you know, it's like I walk 3.5 miles in my living room.
Can't go upstairs?
Dancing, you know.
Do that, yeah.
So, you know, not bad, but going out on the street is always a hassle because so many people don't want to wear their masks and they don't
Everybody's giving dirty looks now. Dirty looks are free in New York. It's like, what are you doing that close to me and not having a mask? Or better yet, under the nose, you know? I do like the Mona Lisa masks, and artistic people are making money designing masks now. So there's a cue for something. I have to ask Eve, I must tell you, my dear, that you are the only reason why you're subscribed to Netflix and Hulu. I could see you. My daughter also. We're like, we don't, Eve Austin, and
gosh, that's crazy.
Everything was just fabulous.
I had a whole career before this. You know that?
It's so amazing, and you still look 29. So that's even.
Yeah.
You do. You do.
I'll take it. I'll take it.
The makeup. The makeup session that you had on one of them is so superb that I think I will keep you in mind for a portrait as soon as I get myself established back on my recliner, you know, because I don't have a printer anymore. So all of those things are not working technology-wise here. And I'm happy that I could get off my recliner into the bathroom and then up the stairs. And after that, I'm on my own. So we're working on moving forward. And as I always say in my speeches, we are survivors. So everybody's got to stay strong and get past this. And
I wanted to make a suggestion. There's someone that's been helping me for about 6 years, and she's a medium. And not everybody's into that, but maybe the last 30, 40 years, I've been very into metaphysics, studying it more for myself and to live in the world and help other people in any way I can. And this woman now has a YouTube channel.
I watched it today.
I know you
watched it.
Yeah. I mean, it's very new and all of that. And she is, she does private work, but she's on the pricey side. Not even, you know, for what she does, she's not. But the point is not everybody can do this. So for everybody that wants to go on there, you look up Norma Mitchell. Norma Mitchell, double L, Mitchell. And she's a woman, a little bit older than us. That's a true channel. She used to work, she's in Colorado, and she used to work for the FBI finding missing children. And she's uncannily accurate if you actually speak with her. And she also has a group that meets it for free, I think once a month. So once you're on that YouTube channel, you can probably get all the information, or you're welcome to let me know. But what I love about her is that she's purely spiritual. This is not a scheme or anything like that. And when we're lost, as many of you guys know, I lost my husband a few months ago, and then recently I had surgery. I now have a pacemaker. How wonderful for airports. But
yeah,
you know, it's quite a lot to go through in a short period of time, and she helps me sail through it, you know. So where there is a lot of us, you know, I'm listening to everybody, and most of us are in pretty good shape emotionally, considering where we're at in this world right now. And actually, Norma does talk about that as well, because she channels and she does talk about why we're here and what, you know, why we're here in this pandemic, I mean, and what we need to do and all of that. And basically, it comes down to pure love. But I'm not here to preach to everybody what I believe. I just think that she might be for some people that are going through a very hard time, either emotionally or mentally or actually physically, and certainly, you know, people like, you know, Rebecca, who is on unemployment, and, you know, that's just as rough as any kind of mental and emotional thing you could go through. And it's just a help, you know, to go listen to someone and meditate with them. And it's not guru weirdo stuff. Okay, so I just wanted to say that. May I just say about my background before my acting? Because yeah, I started actually, I tried to stay in the art business. However, I became a teacher, like my mom said. You know, you have no money, you go be a teacher, and you know, find yourself a husband and have kids and blah blah. So I did just what they said. I became a teacher right out of, you know, I was a student teacher in college. You know, and it just wasn't for me. I did not like it. And also I'd just gotten out of, you know, I was a little young. I was a year younger than everybody. So I ended up going to graduating a little early. So my age was like really a deterrent because I was teaching K through 12 and the 12th graders were hitting on me. And I was just very uncomfortable with that whole situation. I just didn't like it. I didn't like telling people what to do, you know. So then when I left college and I had to get a job, I went and I became a receptionist in an ad agency. And I was very lucky because I made friends there and I started to get promoted and I learned the business and I ended up within a 10-year period becoming a, hi everybody, we're having a party. I became account supervisor, director.
I have
and
to hang up. I'm at my sister's, and all these people are coming, so I just want to say goodbye.
Bye, Joyce.
You want to say something about yourself while I'm talking? Do you want to do that, Electra?
What? There's no. I have. There's dogs. There's people.
Okay. All right.
It's a bad time. Anyway, it's nice to
Next
meet
time.
everyone.
We'll get you next
You can always private chat
care.
anytime.
Bye.
Anytime.
Okay. All right. Bye.
Looking good.
Take care, sweetheart.
Okay.
So anyway, so I ended up being at one point, my toniest job was being advertising director at Diane von Furstenberg. And that kind of, it came by default. I came in as an assistant and the guy left and they recommended me. And there I was at 23 or 24 years old, handling her advertising in-house. It was at the end of her big era and she's come back since then. And that was fascinating because first it was fashion, which is what I was studying in the first place, you know? And I had a great time in that business. And then I stopped working, had my two children who are now 40 and 37. I have two grandkids and they're 2 and 6, which is just phenomenal.
They're adorable. I've seen them.
Oh, so cute. And, you know, the metaphysics thing keeps me on the right side of things. And my creativity is really poured into the acting, as you know, which I don't have to talk about. I mean, I'm just thrilled. It's a very, very difficult business. I'm thrilled for anything I can get. And, you know, I kind of am a little bit of a show off. By the way, it's an acquired taste, Helene, as far as being a talker. It's an acquired taste because I was very shy, I think, in high school. How, I don't know, but I was. I didn't really have many friends. I really didn't. So
I think that when we all came in, most of us were just looking for a familiar face. And
yeah,
I always say we were like all orphan children, just looking to connect. And look at us now.
It's amazing, you know, what life
years
does.
later since we started. It's
I was the most thrilling time that I was able to reconnect with classmates that I don't remember a lot of you, but now, you know, now I'm sort of reconnecting in a different way. But that's me. I think I tried to erase that memory. I was a foreign kid. Nobody really, I think, I don't know if you guys remember it. I had a very heavy accent. And yeah, and I was very, you know, my best friend was Robin Steele, who's not here today. She is around, she's just not here on call today. And the weirdest thing is when I reconnected, because of our group to get togethers, I reconnected with her. And I mean, I didn't even remember what we did or how it happened, But the best part of it is like I realized why she was my best friend, and like we started talking like no time had ever passed. And you know, she's still I would say my best friend, even though we had many years where we didn't talk or have anything together. So I'm very grateful. You know, I'm grateful for the education we had, which was amazing when you think about it.
Eve, what were you majoring in?
What was what?
What did you major in at art and design?
Fashion design.
Fashion.
And when I went in there, it was really a second thing because I tried for, oh God, I'll admit my failure here, which is one of the big.
Who was your fashion design teacher, Eve? Was it Mr. Massey?
I remember that name, possibly.
Mr. Massey was fashion
nice looking guy.
not fashion design.
No. Yeah, I think it was for draping.
For draping, and I hated draping. It was my least favorite, and that's one of the reasons I never went into fashion design. Freaking hated it.
Remember
Well,
the
I didn't
pins?
like
You had to
fashion
really,
design.
really tiny putting the pins in.
And what boring work. I hated
Oh
it.
God,
And
Muslim.
Tiny little models, remember our tiny
Yes,
little
yes.
Oh God.
Yes,
Oh,
and I really sucked at that. And the truth was that bottom line for me.
Is that allowed, Alan? She used a 4-letter word.
Sorry, I have a potty mouth. Sorry. And it was wonderful because my mom, when I was about 14, I came late to art design. I think I came in as a sophomore, junior, sophomore. And the amazing part for me was my mother got very ill and she had breast cancer. And Mrs. Piggott took me in hand and helped me find a doctor. She helped me with everything. That's why I remember her. She was tough love. She was not an easy person, but you knew there was so much love in her. And that's the only one I really remember as far as my teachers, which is odd, but I don't remember much anyway. So don't ask me how I can act. I don't remember my lines.
It's funny. I remember my music teacher, Mr. Shine, who was our orchestra teacher, and my Spanish teacher, who I love very much. Mr. Massey was my fashion illustration teacher.
That's who he was, right?
Fashion illustration.
I
It
like
was
that a lot, yeah.
I originally told them I wanted to do interior design, which is actually much more related to what I do now. And they said, you'll have to take drafting. And you won't like it because it's like, not for women. And I had a drafting teacher who was horrible.
Yeah.
When everybody else had a drafting teacher, they were doing these psychedelic designs, almost like that spirograph stuff. And my drafting teacher was like prehistoric. And it was so boring. I said, yeah, you're right. And they said, go into fashion illustration. I really that's really never would have been an interest of mine. Although I love clothing. But I don't remember too many of my other teachers.
Who was the Spanish teacher you liked?
You know what? I want to say Mrs. Bentoncourt.
I went to Guatemala when I was 12 years old with Dr. Starr. And then I found him again in high school. And it was just the strangest thing. First, I met him when I was 12. Then I also came in as a sophomore. So, it was quite a number of years later. But I had him. I passed. I don't know how. I found this thing that I was in Arista. And it was so beyond comprehension because I went to summer school. I didn't do well in biology. I don't know how that happened, but whatever. I'm happy.
I loved biology. We had Louisa Lance.
Mr. Kenton, I love Mr. Kenton.
Oh,
And all the boys wanted to get very close to the desk because she always crossed her legs with those opaque pantyhose that was brand new on the market. Before that, us girls had to have the medieval
mini skirts and the
girdles and
eyelashes.
snaps and other hygienic things that left claw marks on you. It was torture devices when we were young.
You guys remember when we were allowed to actually wear pants? I remember that.
Yes.
I remember we would sneak the pants on.
Yeah.
And then that guy Jack, who was always smiling and friendly when we came into the door, he would just tell us, get the pants off, go into the girls' room before you get sent to, what was the mean guy, the dean?
Mr. Dyson.
The dean. Mr. Dyson. You were sneaky as you were sent to him.
We had him running around Central Park. He followed us up the elevator of Bloomingdale's, down the elevator of Bloomingdale's, through Central Park, and some kids got caught.
I think I saw him on
My friend
Earth
went on
Day
the
too, taking
merry-go-round,
names.
and we lost him.
Because of the pants?
He was taking names, yeah.
Funny, we went to
Cut out to the
You went to let
your
pants?
Yeah, Alan.
I have a question. Did girls get high in the bathroom?
Yeah.
She smoked
You know what
cigarettes.
they
I don't know about
Yes, they
Terrace.
did.
Didn't
I
we
didn't
smoke
know
on the
that.
terrace?
I found out that they all went to the terrace. Right. The terrace. That was the place. And I never got invited to the terrace. In later years, when I became a hippie, I was so insulted that I was never invited. Oh
I've
my
never
God.
been to the terrace either. I thought everybody in the school except me had gone.
I lived on the terrace.
Yeah, me
and the
too.
hallways.
I bet
In the
you did, Deb.
I was in a different group than Deb. I
You
was in the North Queens
in a
group.
different group, but we had
Essential art design experience.
I know.
Do you
I feel
remember
out. I didn't know what pot was till I went to college. And you know, and I tried it and then I never stopped.
You remember the typewriting teacher?
Does anyone still smoke now?
Occasionally.
My husband died, but actually I miss it. You know, if I like being straight, but once I get started,
No, I actually thought I would sell my urine online. It's so pure, so.
Some of us still haven't spoken. I would still like to hear from Andrea and Tammy and Nancy, who I saw recently.
John,
I
you're
did it-
next.
Well, Alan, you could appreciate this then. I did it once for my husband, who was a CDL driver for the post office, had to take a random urine test, so kept a little vial just in case he got pulled off the truck, because he liked a little smoke now and then. And after he was taken for the random and handed it in, they said, Mr. Abrami, we have good news and bad news for you. Good news is you passed the drug test. The bad news is you're pregnant.
oh, that's good news. What are you talking about?
I heard that one before.
I'm changing position.
Mom used to
I'm
tell
losing
me that
power.
one.
Changing position, losing power.
I like
Yeah,
that.
John, what's going on with you, John?
And your grandmother has diabetes.
On.
Right.
What's wrong with you?
Right. Well, before I have to go, because it's uncomfortable sitting, I was hoping that you lovely people that I love so much, that you wouldn't mind that we were talking about the terrace, and you brought it up. And best times of my life were hanging out on that terrace. And I was thinking, if you wouldn't mind, I certainly don't have the voice to do this, but if you care to sing along, there are two little renditions of Up on the Roof and Under the Boardwalk. It's very quick, so bear with me. Please sing along, because it really is all of us. Okay. I practiced for this, so, well, I'm in the room alone without getting laughed up.
Helene, do we want to finish everybody's introduction and little chat burst before we do that?
Sure.
John?
Did you finish,
Anyone
John?
heard-
Or did you speak?
John?
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 John, talk to us.
Yeah, can you hear me?
Yes.
Yeah. Well, after graduating, I went to City College for architecture, got my 2 degrees, and then actually Alan got me my first job. I don't remember Gary. I guess he was a neighbor of yours. Was looking for a draftsman. I started working in. He worked in Autoworld Studios.
Right.
And from that, I got into the interior design, retail interior design, because that's what his company did. And
Actually, that was the second job. Your first job was a drug dealer.
Where?
Your first job was a drug dealer.
Hey, Alan, don't lie. That's not true.
Go ahead.
Come on, seriously. Anyway, then I eventually ended up in the store design department of Bloomingdale's. Worked there for about 32 years. You know, worked my way up there. Really enjoyed that. Turned 65 and I was laid off. That was, you know, years ago. And from there, I went into the store design department of Barnes & Noble. And when the pandemic hit, you know, I was furloughed and eventually laid off because, you know, they went into the pandemic, you know, with the Amazon competition and everything, so they were really hurting. But they're doing good. They have about 630 stores, you know, still opening new ones, you know, they have under new ownership. So they're doing okay. So I guess I'm getting ready to retire now, you know. Aside from that, you know, I'm living out here in Seaford, Long Island. Moved there from Queens.
You play the guitar?
What part?
Yeah, that was, I had that up before.
What part of Eastern Long Island are you?
Seaford, that's a southern part, not, you know, with almost
Yeah.
walking distance of Jones Beach, actually bicycle distance, you know. So I go there a lot now, especially now. And yeah, I play guitar. I'm in a little music duo. But yes, everything's good now. I have one daughter, just turned 20, and turned 24. And because of the pandemic, she's living home with us now, you know, working from home. And everything's good. You know, married, happily married. So I have no complaints. You know, it's good to see everybody.
That's wonderful.
Yeah.
Who would like to go next?
Andrea. Andrea.
Hi, everybody. It's amazing. It's amazing to be thinking back to the world of art and design, I have to say. In a long time, but art and design, I have to say, will always remain central in my heart as the place where it was okay to be a square peg. You know, it was such a turning point in my life because everything up until then was trying to fit in, you know, as a kind of an artistic, sensitive person into, you know, the standard New York school, high school thing, and never quite succeeding. And then landing at art and design where everybody was a square peg. And it was just the most joyous and formative thing for me. It really had a very lasting impact on my life. So thank you all for having been a part of it. And I was especially taken back to it with the recent death of Milton Glaser. I feel like we should have a moment of silence about that, who was really the high priest of graphic design and did so much in our time that that endures. But anyway, back to me. So I live on Orcas Island, which is, I say, one of the crumbles in the far northwest corner of the United States. When you look at the map and the land kind of crumbles away, I live on one of those crumbles. It's one of the San Juan Islands, and it's very beautiful. I live now in an 840 square foot fishing cabin that was built in 1923, but lovingly preserved. So that's what you're seeing around me. I have, you know, I have to say, when I was at Art and Design, there were so many really colorful people, and I always felt like one of the least colorful people there. I always felt rather conventional, but it's turned out that my life really hasn't been the least bit conventional. It's really funny how that works sometimes. But art has definitely been the thread that has held together through many different locations. I went on to the Maryland Institute. I started at Buffalo, and that's where Tammy and I had that incredible continuity from art and design to college. But then I transferred to the Maryland Institute College of Art in Baltimore, and that led me to about 20 years in Baltimore. And I had a kind of a pioneer period where I was doing environmental education up at the Delaware Water Gap and kind of taking kids out into the woods doing essentially what Andy Goldsworthy now does and gets paid great sums of money for. And I was doing it before him. And then wound up living in Africa and a number of different overseas posts. I was married to someone who became a doctor in the Foreign Service. So I lived in West Africa and South Africa and Yemen, which was extraordinary. And then that marriage ended, and I found myself here. And this is where I've been for the last 15 years. And I did get a degree in art therapy and did that for a while. And here I've been involved with a group which is, because the public school here is quite small, so there's not funding for an art teacher. So I was involved in starting a group called AOK, which stands for Art for Orcas Kids. And basically we scrounged together a little bit of money to hire people who are artists to go in as teaching artists and work with the different classes. But of course, all of that is sort of on hold right now, along with everything else. But my daughter lives in Brooklyn, and I miss her extremely terribly. Fortunately, I had a trip to visit her at the beginning of March, right before all of this lockdown began. And we have lots of conversations trying to figure out how we're going to get to see each other. And we haven't really been able to figure it out yet. So, you know, I'm on my own here, and it's a lot of alone, I have to say. Living on this island and alone is a lot of alone. But I'm here to tell the tale. And I just took part in a very cool art-related thing that I wanted to tell you guys about if you don't know about it. A good friend of mine from the Maryland Institute moved to New York when we graduated, and she's been there ever since. And she lives in the West Beth Artists Housing down in the Village, which is a very cool thing. And so some New York artist whose name I can't remember got together with the US Postal Service and decided to create this project during COVID, where artists who are kind of isolated are using the mail to work collectively with one another. So she sent me a piece of art that she created on a 12 by 12 format and did not finish, and mailed it to me for me to finish. And I likewise started one and mailed it to her. And you can go onto Instagram on USPS Art Project and see all of the incredibly cool pieces of art that one artist has started and another artist has finished. And so that's my latest little art bit. But it's wonderful to see you all. I wish you all great health and happiness.
Thank you. You have a very interesting
Yes, fascinating.
surrounding.
That's
life.
Reach
That
out
brings
to
to
us,
mind.
Andrea. Reach out to us and join us on whatever social media we've got. Isolation can be wonderful in one way, but sometimes creativity kind of dies with isolation. So you have to keep things up with everybody else in a way, if you're so inclined. But you've had a fascinating life, and it's very interesting. I'd love to hear.
Alan, how about you?
Andrea, do you remember Miss Burris's art illustration class?
No, because I was in fashion illustration.
No, but in the rotational shop the first year in 10th grade, you were in my illustration class. They had a watercolor class. I'm sorry, it was watercolor.
Okay, that's kind of coming back to me. I remember you, but I didn't remember that.
Yeah, but what was it? I don't remember if it was that class or something, another class. We had to do contour line drawings. Now it must have been, and we did.
I was in that class with you.
Portraits of each other doing contour line drawings. I remember doing one of you, and I still have it.
Oh, no kidding.
Wow.
Gotta find it
Sure,
next
it's
time we're on
changed.
social media. I'll
Send
hold
it
it
to
up.
Andrea.
I hated pointillism myself. It was just too much, of that rapidograph.
That's archaic now.
It's true.
And that wonderful ruling pen that had to be just perfect or it would just
That was medieval
And
torture.
press
over
type.
everything.
Remember the press type?
Remember little Mr. DeGemma? He was the best. He liked everything though. He was very
Mr.
encouraging.
McKenna was great.
I was.
Now I have to bring up Mr. Planning because we had such a small group and we had such a good time in that class. We were always making the school decorations for the dances that nobody went to or shows
Exactly.
nobody really wanted to see except jamming in to see Dolly with his pet ocelot cropping on the stage. That was always interesting. And,
Oh, yeah.
Highlights.
somebody
Forever
Somebody-
remember.
Yeah.
Excuse me. Yeah, somebody interpreted his Esperanto that we are all going to amount to absolutely nothing. That is what was told to me. And we still applauded him and his melting clock and always
Who wants to go next? You want me to go?
of our
Oh,
years.
Alan?
We haven't
Yeah,
heard
sure.
we haven't heard from Deb or Nancy
Or Nancy.
Tammy.
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 Yeah, there's several people haven't said anything yet.
Yes.
I'm here.
Alan, are you going next?
I'll go.
I
I want
can
you
go.
guys know that even though it's set for 2 to 4, we can go further since I have an account. Don't worry about the time. If we go over 4, it's cool. I mean, if you got to go, you got to go. But I just don't want you to think that this has to end. We can keep going. There's not a time limit.
I thought it was 3 to 5.
Well, that's New York time.
That's
Oh,
New York and Long Island.
Yes, 2 to 4 my time, 3 to 5 your time. But no, we can past 5. So this, I don't want you to worry about the time. Well,
Thank you.
I was.
Nancy. Let's try and hear the rest of the people, at least squeeze them in. We didn't, Nancy, are you ready to
Tammy
talk?
was speaking.
We were starting with Tammy.
Tammy,
So we're
great.
giving Alan a chance.
I'll go. It's
You
okay.
did.
It's,
Oh, Alan.
Go Alan first. Alan.
Yes.
well, I was in. I said I was in, and I wound up going to Pratt, and
Me too. Me too.
I wound up moving into pretty much into advertising. When I graduated, I got a job. I was pretty lucky. I got a job pretty quickly at an agency in a place called Cunningham and Walsh. They don't exist anymore, but I kind of cut my teeth there for a few years. And I wound up getting offered a job in St. Louis to work in an ad agency there. I had worked on a little bit of beer at this agency in New York. So I wound up going to St. Louis to work on Anheuser-Busch. And I wound up working on Budweiser and Michelob Light. Michelob Light had just come out, so I got assigned to that. Then I moved over to Budweiser, and our group came up with All You Do, This Bud's For You. And then I wanted to get back to New York, but I wound up getting offered a job in Chicago. And I wound up moving to Chicago, and I stayed in Chicago through most of the 80s, but then I wound up getting offered a job back in New York as a creative director at another ad agency. I stayed there for a few years, lived out in I had
this is Eve, the movie star. She just had a pacemaker put in. Really?
I'd gotten married.
She lives in New York? Yeah.
And lived out, and then I wound up
on all the Netflix and the Hulu that I told you.
You shouldn't be talking while Alan's
She's
talking.
the leader of
Put
that.
yourself on mute.
Helene,
Yeah,
yeah, put it
you have to go on mute.
because we can't hear Alan.
Oh, I'm sorry.
If you're going to speak, you got to be on mute. Okay, you got to. Okay, so anyway, where was I? See, you lost my train of thought. Anyway, I wound up moving to New York. I was in New York for a while, and then I wound up going back to Chicago. So I've moved around a lot, and then I got offered a job in Detroit in the early 90s, and I wound up working on General Motors our agency. I worked on Cadillac, for many years, became creative director, vice president, yada, 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 ran a group. And then my partner and I, we wound up moving over to another ad agency called McCann Erickson and worked on Buick. I was creative director on Buick.
Make it easier to hear.
If you were watching TV in the late 90s, early 2000s, I had a lot of spots on the air. I was doing a lot of traveling, which was really cool. I was in LA a lot, a lot of production, and, you know, wound up starting my own little place at home called Rado. I wound up leaving Detroit. I got divorced. I remarried. And moved back to Chicago. I've been in Chicago since 2004, and I still do advertising, but I also got into teaching. I said when I was at Pratt, my minor is art education, and I started getting involved in teaching, and I wound up having a full-time position over at a college here in Chicago, Columbia College. I was there for a few years. I was on a tenure track. And I wound up moving on to some other schools, and I'm still teaching. I'm teaching at a college right now called the College of DuPage. I still do advertising. My kids are pretty much grown up. I have a mother that lives in Portland, and I have a son that lives in LA. My daughter got into musical theater. She went to University of Arizona. And when she graduated, she wound up getting a gig at Mandalay Bay doing Mamma Mia. So she was in Mamma Mia in Las Vegas for about a year, and then wound up moving into New York. And she just was in a spot. She was in a commercial for 1-800-CONTACTS. So she's living in Portland, though, and her husband is also an art director. He's a creative director for an ad agency. And they have a son named Declan. He just turned 4. And my son Adam and his wife Becky, they live in LA. They work for Warner Brothers. They work on social content, social media content. My son just finished working on a movie with Clint Eastwood. Actually, I don't know, it didn't do that well. But with the COVID thing, they've both been working at home, which has been kind of tough for them, you know, to work for Warner Brothers, but be working at home. So they have a son. His name is Avery. Avery's 3.5. And I also have a stepdaughter from my first marriage, and she doesn't live far away from me. She's about a half an hour from here. But I live in Chicago. I've been here pretty much the last 40 years, other than moving back to New York and living in Detroit and St. Louis. So I've been moving around. Right now I'm pretty much settled. You know, just kind of enjoying life. Life's good. You know, stay in touch with you guys. It was unfortunate that this thing happened. It was kind of funny because Elizabeth kind of put this first together and then figured out, well, she didn't know what she was doing. She didn't really know how to do this. So she asked if anybody knows how to work this. And I said, yeah, you know, I'm doing Zoom because, you know, I've been teaching and I've been doing everything virtual for the last 4 months. So like all my classes have been virtual. So I've done probably about 40 Zoom calls. So a matter of fact, I start teaching again in a few weeks, and it's going to be interesting teaching virtual. I teach cartooning and advertising, and it's not easy teaching virtual, but doing what we can for now. I feel kind of good, kind of fun doing it. I didn't realize those.
You can just pretend you're John Nagy. Remember John Nagy?
John Nagy, yeah. Matter of fact, whoever mentioned Milton Glaser, he was also a hero of mine.
Yeah.
I met him. He came to Pratt once to do a lecture. I got a chance to meet him. Actually, when school ended, I actually tried to get to work in a studio.
Pushpin.
It didn't work out, but I wound up getting a job in another agency. And it's funny how things work out. Who knows? I could have been working with Milton Glaser.
My sport IPG.
So that's about it with me. Who would like to go next?
Alan, I just want
My son
to ask
works
one
for
question.
IPG.
IPG?
You mentioned that you're going to
IPG.
be recording this.
Yeah.
Yes. Thank you so much for bringing us together like this.
You're welcome.
Alex Simmons, who's a very good friend of mine, and my son's also now, because they meet in San Diego for Comic-Con, which was canceled this year. I guess he'll be on a future one. He does all his Comic-Con for kids all on Zoom also, and has been very successful writing his Blackjack series.
Right. I ordered it from my library.
Push that a little bit. Yes, that's really great to see on Amazon when our friends have books being published and poetry. And I don't see Eileen Burney, my good friend, who said that she would be here today. Two of my Builder-C friends, three, Ellen Stern, Linda Sackhoff, and Sid Happ.
Yeah, but there's still some people here who haven't spoken.
Yeah.
And we were listening to Tammy. We didn't hear.
Let's hear from them.
We keep trying to get you.
Hi, how are you? Can you hear me?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. I live in Los Angeles. My
Wait, is
husband
that
really-
Tammy Dames?
Yes. I have
Tammy, hi!
I'm on my husband's iPad. Sorry. And I live here with my husband. We have 4 daughters, ages 35 down to 26. One of them lives in Los Angeles, so we see her and her boyfriend, but the other ones don't live in town, and we really are missing them. I went to school with Andrea in Buffalo. Hi, Andrea, again.
Hi.
And we, after Buffalo, my husband and I came across country, and I worked as a waitress for a while, and then ended up being a clothing designer for 35 years or something. Now I'm not really working, doing some freelance, but not really working, and missing my kids, but trying to make the most of what we have here. So fortunately healthy, and it's great to see everybody. This is really amazing. And to think about these teachers and our time at Art and Design. Art and Design was wonderful. It was a pivot point in my life as well, everybody's. And I remember different teachers. I remember Mr. Ferguson, and does anybody remember? Yeah.
Yes.
Yes. I
And
loved
Mr.
him.
Hollingsworth. Mr.
And Mr.
Hollingsworth.
Hollingsworth. Oh my God, for
Parents,
painting.
Mr.
Yes.
Ferguson just passed away, just within the last month or two.
Who?
Oh.
Mr. Ferguson.
Oh.
Yeah, it was posted online.
Oh, I'm so sorry to hear that.
Yeah,
it was
me
wonderful.
too.
Hollingsworth passed away a long time ago.
Right.
He was older though.
Oh, yeah.
I had, before I came into school, USDAN Center for the Creative Arts out on Long Island. I don't know if anyone ever heard of it. Had just opened. It was the first summer they were opening. And I signed up for painting. I took acrylic painting, and my teacher was Mr. Hollingsworth.
Wow.
He came out and he was teaching at this USDAN Center for the Creative Arts. And it was the best summer of
I loved him.
Yeah,
He was great.
I mean, considering I landed up going into fashion design, but he gave me such a love for acrylic painting.
Right.
It was like unbelievable. He was like the best. Absolutely.
I believe there's still a poster of his in the Carmen Building in Lehman College, which is in the basement section, right on the wall. Big poster of one of his paintings.
Yeah.
I'm
Well, he
surprised
was
nobody mentioned Daisy
Don
Alden.
Quixote.
Was what?
Is Don Quixote.
Daisy Alden.
Everyone's talking at the same time. I can't hear what you're saying.
I
He
said,
was what? His son was what? I couldn't hear.
I said I was surprised that nobody mentioned Daisy Alden.
Oh, Daisy.
Oh,
Alden.
yeah.
Daisy Alden.
Yeah.
And Mr. Gatos. I loved Mr. Gatos.
Oh, yeah. What about Mr. Seymour?
Oh,
loved him.
I love Miss.
I had such a crush on him.
Yes,
What happened
everybody.
to Clarence, the chorus teacher?
Yes, I loved her.
She was
Yeah.
wonderful.
Mrs. Glickman?
Remember that.
Maybe.
All I know is that when I came in 10th grade, the first semester I had pottery or ceramic or whatever you want, and I had Mr. Teddy Bear.
My homeroom teacher.
Yeah.
It was my
I
home.
had Mr. Elliskew, the best of the best, and did not know his history until after he passed away. Not only did he create the Heisman Trophy, but He also, during the war, was one of the innovators of tattooing scars of injured soldiers. So if you get a chance to Wikipedia him, it was an incredible class. He very rarely smiled. And if you did a sculpture from that lump of clay that was always in that barrel of mush, and you thought you did something great, you know, making nostrils and doing it, let it sit there, and then the next day you'd go back and the whole thing would be thrown back in the bin with the rest of the mush because it wasn't good enough for him. And I recall distinctly coming in early one day and witnessed him using a hammer breaking up a slate that had a nude woman on it. And it was beautiful. I mean, you know, it was slate and it was shiny and the rest of it was all rough. And he was just beating the crap out of this thing, knocking it into this garbage can. And I didn't care, you know, at that time. I said, you know, why would you do that? I mean, that would be something that somebody would treasure, you know, not even knowing, you know, the fame that he had behind him, backing him. We didn't know. And he said because it wasn't up to his standards. So he wouldn't give it away for free. And that was pretty much it. The one that I missed the most, which probably everybody else hated, was my history teacher, Jerome Lincoln Starr, with the microphone and the Lysol.
Oh yeah, he was an interesting guy.
I didn't need history anymore, but I actually opted to please take it again and again, even though I finished everything that I could possibly take. There was nothing left. My schedule on my report card when I graduated was like 5 classes, and it was, you know, 100, 100, 100. Come on, nobody gets 100. We got hundreds on there. Nobody would believe me. There was no whiteout. There was nothing. They just said, you know what? You came every day.
I want to hear
Came
from
in school,
Deb and Nancy.
Yeah,
We
come on.
have to hear from Deb and Nancy.
Bev, Nancy, and Jennifer.
Taking turns is a good thing.
Well, he died not long ago. He was teaching in the New Art and Design, and his brother looked exactly like him. And many people have stories about him, but he used to end every lesson by reading something in another language. I mean, he spoke so many languages, I lost track. He would speak it in that language, you know, very clearly with the microphone. And when he would finish, he would laugh, ha ha, you know, and give the answer, you know, the ending to the story. While everybody else was just dumbfounded because we didn't understand a word that he said, unless it was a language like French or Spanish that many were taking and somewhat familiar with. But all in all, we got to do our thing. And that was the best part of all. Pants or no pants, the last few months of the year that we protested, like with my good friend Annie Chen. And we had to remove the bells. Remember, we used to wear a lot of ringing, dinging bells. That wasn't allowed in Miss Rubenstein's intermediate algebra and fusion class.
Excuse me, Helene? Can we
Did
get
you ever use that?
Nancy? I just want to get everybody on here.
Nancy and Deb. Nancy, Deb, and maybe Jen. Okay,
Tammy,
Nancy.
Tammy, did you finish what you were saying?
Yes,
Oh, okay.
done.
Nancy.
Yes, can you hear me?
No,
Yes,
now I
go
can.
ahead. Sometimes,
Hi,
yeah.
Nancy.
Hi. This
Hello,
is so
Nancy.
I'm on
Hi,
my
Nancy.
phone. Yes. Well, I'm using my phone for this because lately I've had issues with my audio coming across. So I didn't see everybody all at once, but I'm so thrilled to see everybody now and glad that I can be heard. Not that I have much to tell, and I was so glad not to be the speaker after Andrea. So, because that was a hard one to follow. However, I may be the only one with a broken arm.
Oh no.
What happened?
Well, the bike didn't want me to get on it.
Oh.
The nerve of it.
About 6 weeks ago, I hadn't ridden a bike in a while. I went and my husband tuned it up, so to speak, and I go to put my right leg over the bar, and I must, did something in my usual clumsy self, and that was it. So I fell on my wrist, and thank goodness. I mean, it's a pretty bad wrist issue, but I got taken care of by an orthopedist that day at the ER, so I was pretty lucky. And they said it's lucky I didn't get surgery or have pins and all of that. So anyway, it's going to heal. It's not the kind of thing that, oh, see you, Janet. Did you get to talk?
Hi, Janet.
Time.
Janet, gallery again.
Why don't you talk, Janet?
Janet has the most fantastic connection to a gallery, and who's ever in Brooklyn, in Greenpoint, has to go because it's an effort of love. And I went, and I was very pleased to
Thank
see
you
Good
so
luck
much.
with all of
Yeah,
that.
just
Love your work.
befriend me on Facebook, and I would love to speak to everybody on a different level because it's so interesting how many places we've come and gone to. And I'm on my iPhone, so I can't see everybody. So it's really a drag because I'm out in Fire Island and I don't have Wi-Fi. So on my computer. So yes, feel me, it's fabulous out here.
Yeah.
But I would love to connect with everyone, and hopefully maybe we could do this again.
Yes,
that would be
please.
fun.
Okay, so take care, everyone, and stay
Stay
strong.
well.
Take
Stay
art,
safe, yes.
do something, be creative.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Paint something on your cookies. It's
That,
all
next
good.
time, Janet, next time I'm gonna wear your necklace. She gave you
Okay.
a magnificent necklace.
Well, it's more like a wall icon, but
I don't care, but I'm wearing it as a.
never wear you. Oh, I love you, Eve. I'm glad you're better. Take care.
Thank you, sweetheart.
Bye.
Okay.
You're still
Nancy.
talking, Nancy.
Nancy.
Okay.
Nancy.
Yes. Well, I live in Delaware now full-time because I retired about 2 years ago. We live in Sussex County, which is called Lower Slower Delaware, which I found out because there's a little, bumper sticker that everybody had. It said LSD. And I'm thinking, in this day and age, in a very conservative state, so of course, being from New York and everything and going to A&D, I'm like, what's that? Lower, slower Delaware. So, you go from New York to here. Well, actually, though, I spent 40 years in the DC area in Virginia, in Alexandria, Virginia. And that's where my husband's an optom, or was before we retired. So we lived there. We have a beautiful daughter, and I now have a 4-year-old granddaughter, the love of my life. And I didn't know I was going to make it today because we had her for the last couple days and just brought her back for the exchange and came back here, but made it in time. Anyway, I worked for many years in telecom because I started doing forms design because that's what my art background sort of enabled me back in the day when you did it all on pica ruled paper, hand and pencil, and with the forms that were 7-part forms for an insurance company. I thought it was, how could I ever work for a more boring kind of company? But the work itself was kind of fascinating because you had to make, each part of the papers of insurance forms and all of that. It was almost like making different layers of things because the fine print and this print and things blocked out and others. And anyway, so that led to when I moved down to DC, I started working at MCI, which was then a very little teeny telecom upstart, and was there for a good amount of years, about 25, until WorldCom took them over, went bankrupt, and that was during the time that I worked in procurement, buying all the graphic arts and advertising for them. So while I didn't do a lot of creative work, I was lucky enough to stay sort of in the arena of print and art and advertising and stuff, which I then luckily in my last job at the American Psychiatric Association, I had gotten laid off when I was about 60. So nobody wanted me. I was too old. I dyed my hair so that it wouldn't be gray, which it now lovingly is. And that job was really fun because it was the smallest company I ever worked for. They only had about 200 people, whereas working in big corporations like Verizon and MCI with 50,000 people. So I was able to sort of do a lot of work in, what do you call it, membership management and doing a lot of writing and editing and working with ad agencies and stuff to run sweepstakes. So it was a lot of fun. And the thing that was interesting for me was going from the very hands-on cut and paste and stuff, which I did a lot of in forms design and other things. And then all of a sudden everything turned to computer aided art. And it was, I realized, going from one user interface, which was paper, to the last user interface, which was the computer screen, and working for Verizon on their pay your bill site. So it was doing the same things. It was like making forms, but it was all electronic. It was tough because of the technology. But, and I'm not sorry not to be doing it anymore, but I learned so much so that at least with all of that technology behind me, I can at least use a phone and a laptop somewhat intelligently. But I was a fish out of water because, you know, I always said I was an art major. What do I know from this, you know? So, but to Andrea's point, A&D being such a formative time, I mean, it was a crazy time in history in terms of our age group, and being the kids that were marketed to, and being the Woodstock generation, to now, you know, I realized just a few years ago, our age group isn't the one that's being marketed to anymore. It's like the commercials don't care about us anymore unless it's Joe Namath talking about whatever he's talking about, you know, and even Joe Namath now sounds old. And also to that point, I remember Sandy Zinnemann, who we
Dear Sandy.
I almost wasn't going to go to the 50th reunion because I couldn't bear thinking of going without her. But with Facebook and the way we've been able to reconnect over these few years, and then seeing Cheryl and Deb down in my crazy neck of the woods about a year ago, it was the most fun thing. And we still talk about it here. And as you said too, Andrea, it's like down here, there are many more New Yorkers here, of course, and Northeasterners than in Orcas Island. But to come, you know, to have people come over and you totally fall right back, you know, into the accent, and I forget how people sound when you know, and it's almost like, wow, now I could hear what everybody was talking about and laughed at when I first went to college in Western New York, because as an RA there, we had to get up and announce ourselves and say where you're from to the whole cafeteria. And it was like, hi, I'm Nancy Pickman, I'm from New York. And the whole place cracked up. And I didn't realize why. I didn't realize how provincial I really was, because I had never been out of there. But anyway, So I retired a couple of years ago, moved here, which I never thought I'd like because I thought it'd be too slow. But I'm using my creative energies garden, which not that successfully, but I'm learning and it's always fun to learn. But I'm cooking a lot, except now my husband has become my chef. He today will dismember a rotisserie chicken for me. He's getting very good at that. And I tell him that it's like when he always needs me to help on one of his electrical or plumbing projects around the house. That's him with my cooking stuff. But anyway, it warms my heart to hear and see everybody. And hopefully soon this will be behind us and we'll do some more in the flesh. But it certainly enabled us. I mean, we don't always need a Zoom thing with everybody. And I don't use FaceTime or WhatsApp very much, but it's certainly another way to do it. And I'm hoping that I make the time to do that, to see all of you lovelies.
Well, keep in touch on Facebook and join our 1970 group, because everybody is like 125 or more people on there.
I'm on that.
We post good news and bad, unfortunately.
I just don't go on Facebook much because I find it's like the dictionary years ago.
Just specifying
you stay on
our
there
website.
and all of a sudden you're there forever. So I get too hooked in to the whole, you know.
Well, we try to stick to one subject, us and our school and our adoration for each other, and give support. And like they say, half a grief shared is half a grief, and a joy shared is twice a joy. And we've lost too many classmates and families and spouses and children and parents and
Debbie.
We have
to be survivors.
Debbie's
and we're all from New York, so we are survivors.
Yep.
And
my turn.
I love you all, but 2 hours.
Let's hear it for Deb.
For me to sit with my.
Thank you, Nancy.
Okay, so
Yeah, 2 hours is a long time for me to sit with these bad hips. So.
Talk a little louder.
Be louder?
Yeah,
How's
better,
that?
better.
Is it better? Okay. So, I've seen a bunch of you over the past few years, which has made me incredibly happy. I have a wonderful relationship with Cheryl. Hi, honey. We talk a lot, and I'm really close with Yvonne Fuka. We went to Norway last summer for a couple of weeks. I went to her house in Paris, and we went to Amsterdam. We had a pretty good time, and we talk a lot on WhatsApp. And Cheryl and I went down and saw Nancy last June, and we had a sleepover, and that was wonderful.
Yes.
I had reconnected with Sandy Zinnemann, and we had been back and forth to each other's house, and unfortunately that abruptly stopped when she passed away. And I talked to Pearl. I'm in touch with Jenny Fader. So I have a lot of really good connections. Belinda Davies and I went to Europe together for 6 months.
Me too.
When
So-
was
About her.
When was that, Deb?
Linda.
That was in the probably the mid 70s, and she's a teacher. She's a professor of linguistics somewhere, I think in Oregon. So she and Jenny are still in touch a lot. So I graduated and immediately moved to Israel and stayed there for almost a year. And then I went and stayed with, Yvonne went to college in Paris. So I went and crashed with her for a couple of months and came back to the States for a few months, went back to Israel and Europe for a few months, and, you know, ping-ponged around the world for a while. And then finished my degree at Queen's College, went and lived in Wales for 3.5 years, and pretty much did pottery for most of my professional life. And I taught art history also. So I taught art history at the American University in Cairo for 2 years because my then husband was an engineer, and we lived in Cairo, and so I fell into that job. And so let's see. So I lived in Wales and Egypt and Israel and Mexico, because Belinda and I went to San Miguel de Allende for a summer term. Is anybody there?
We're all here.
Oh, good.
We're all here.
I was seeing an empty chair, and I thought, oh, maybe she went to the bathroom.
Elena,
Anyway.
she said she's going for a while. She was uncomfortable.
Oh, anyway, so I taught pottery in a high school for 31 years, and at the same time I was teaching art history and pottery at community colleges, and I retired in November, went out to California in December, saw my son, who's in the weed business. So when someone said, does anybody still smoke weed? It's like, honey, I got a family connection.
Okay.
So,
Everybody call Deb.
yeah. So call my son. Anyway, so, and he's doing really well. He's doing marketing. And when he was 14 and he told me that he was going to be a pot king, and he was going to have a big career in pot, I was like, yeah, right. Like the rest of us. Yeah. And he is. He's like really successful. And my other kid, who's downstairs chopping up vegetables for dinner, is he doesn't live with me, but he comes and does his laundry at my house. So he's in IT. I got divorced in 2008, which was wonderful and freeing. And now I don't have to listen to anybody else's crap. And I've been doing pottery. So when I retired, I figured, Cheryl and I were going to meet for the day in Greece because we both had trips at the same time, but that all got canceled. And I set up my my wheel and my all my pottery stuff on my porch. So I've been making lots of pots, and I post them. So if our friends on Facebook, then you can see everything I'm doing, because I don't keep anything to myself. And,
so you are in the pot business.
Pardon, honey?
She's in the pot business too.
Pot business.
I got in trouble. I got in trouble when I was teaching high school, because one of my students would walk around, because I would show him how to you know, burn off the extra moisture from the clay by you know, you leave the kiln open a little bit and you drive off the extra moisture. And one of my students says, it looks like smoke. And I said, yeah, it's like, you know, you're smoking the pots. And he walked around telling everybody that he smoked pot with me. And my principal called me in and said, so I understand you've been smoking pot with the kids. It's like, Jesus Christ, you can't make a joke. Anyway, so, yeah, I guess I retired at the right time, because, you know, all this stuff was happening, and I didn't have to go anywhere, and I didn't have to worry about teaching remotely, and I'm getting my, you know, my pension, which isn't a lot, but it pays the mortgage. And I live alone. I have the 2 cats. I don't know if you heard, one of them was talking a lot during the, you know, and I try and keep up my friendships, and I'm really grateful to the people that I have reconnected with or stayed in touch with. Anything, did I miss anything?
Where do you live, Deb?
Oh, I live in Connecticut. So my ex-husband, when we were living in Cairo, he ruptured his a disc in his back, and his company said, when that heals, would you be interested in opening an office in Connecticut? And he asked me, because it's close enough to New York. I still had living relatives at the time, and his family was from Massachusetts. We figured we're right in the middle. That would be great. So we wound up moving to Connecticut. And one day I said to him, so where do you think we're going to retire to? And he looked at me and he said, no place warm. And I thought, that sounds really hostile. Well, not long after that, he actually told me he was finished being married to me, and he was moving to California. So he's in California, he's remarried, and he should live and be happy. And I'm stuck in Connecticut. I mean, where am I going to go? I don't know where to go.
Where in Connecticut is nice, isn't it?
It's nice. It's kind of like Great Neck was in the 60s. I live in a nice a nice neighborhood, yeah. I live in a little colonial, but it's my own house, and I have, you know, I have a porch that I have a studio on, and I have
And you have that
lawn in the
lake and
front.
park that you walk to, that park and lake that you swim at, that looks so beautiful.
It's wonderful.
Deb,
Yeah.
what part of Connecticut are you in?
I'm in West Hartford.
Oh, it's gorgeous up there.
Pretty nice.
Yeah.
I can't complain. Well, I can complain because that's my hobby, but no, it's not bad. It's we have a lot of theater because I go to the theater all the time. I've done a lot of community theater performing in, and I've sung with choirs, and I mean, all that's gone, and I didn't know what to do because my whole life had kind of started revolving around I sell travel. I'm a travel agent on the side. So like the travel agency's dead, the theater's dead. What am I going to do? So I started joining all these Facebook groups for pottery. And it just revived my desire to start making stuff. I hadn't really made anything for about 2 years. And so now I'm totally involved in these Facebook groups. And every time someone says, you know, well, what do I do about this? The teacher in me just jumps in and says, do this, this, and this, you'll be fine. And it's kind of great because I feel like I've rediscovered a love that I had for, even though I thought theater, because my mother wouldn't let me audition for performing arts. So that's why I wound up auditioning for art and design, and I got in. So, all right. Joni Mitchell has a degree in art, and she said that she knew she could be successful in music. She didn't know if she could be successful in art, so she took that path. I knew I could be successful in art. I wasn't sure if I could be successful in theater, so that's why I chose that path. But then I always wanted to still do the theater, but that's no longer available, right? Well, for the time being. So, oh, I wanted to tell 2 little stories. One, when I was living with Yvonne in Paris, I ran into Daisy Alden at the American Express office where I used to pick up my mail, Poste Restante. And I had been very rude to her when she was my teacher, and I felt terrible about it. But when I ran into her, she was so excited to see me. And she said, you know, of all my students, I knew you were going to do something more with your life than just, you know, stay in Queens. And I thought, oh my God, I was so rude to you. I don't deserve that. But it was great that she thought of me that way. And the other teacher that I ran into, who I absolutely despised when we were in school, was Mr. Dyson. And I ran into him at the theater in London. And he was really sweet. And he was really interested in who I was and and he knew who I was, and he wanted to know what I'd been doing. So he really seemed like a mensch when he wasn't a Nazi at school. So, okay, any questions?
Wow.
I have a question.
Great life, too.
I think this is from high school. Was this our type Facebook? I think it was. I think I've kept it all these years. So, you know, art and design really shaped us, and I'm so happy that we're all reconnected. And it seems to me that everybody is doing so beautifully, and that's so nice. And even with our struggles, it's great that we have this support 50 years later.
Is there anybody we still haven't heard from?
Or that we want to hear from more?
It's so nice that everybody talked a little bit about themselves, and I really wish we were in person, but I think we really got to hear each other a lot. Instead of just sticking with the people that we knew the best from high school.
Laura, I love reading the stuff that you post online. You're such a warm, lovely person, and I really didn't know you in high school, except that you, as you say, you were very shy. But you know, you're so smart, and I really love reading what you have to say.
Oh, thank you so much, Deb. And
That's the
I
one
wish
from
I was
high
less
school.
shy because I wish I knew you all better in high school. I'm glad I know you now. Andrea, what do you have?
Yeah. So this is actually stolen from the High School of Art and Design because I love this book so much that I returned it. So as you can see inside,
I think I know.
can you see that?
Oh, wow.
That was a library.
It was the thing they made you sign when you got a textbook.
They're going to come to Orcas for you.
But I use this book all the time. Mr. Beagle-Eisen put this book together.
Right. I have
And I
that somewhere
still
also.
trace out of this book. I love this
That's
book.
Beagle-Eisen's book, right?
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, Beagle-Eisen did the lettering.
Who
One
remembers?
of my cherished.
FYI, they call them fonts now.
How about Letraset? You guys all remember Letraset?
Of course.
Letraset, yeah.
Yes.
I still have my Brahms Requiem that I stole from Mrs. Clarence, and I've actually sung it 2 more times with other choirs. So Brahms Requiem, yeah. And I used to surprise people because they would mention like a little bit of the text, and I'd be able to finish the passage, and people would look at me like, "How the hell do you know that?" It's like art and design.
Right.
Now this picture behind me, I got for $5 at the consignment shop.
Ah,
Oh, wow.
a little bit closer.
That is so fabulous.
Look at that.
Oh, it's beautiful.
What is that?
All different typefaces.
Oh.
And then I found this one. It's a bumper sticker, but I never put it on a car because I have to have it near me in my office, so to speak, my messy place. But I just have loved type ever since A and D as well. Well, actually, I have to say in junior high school too. But and that's where I always have my favorite story with Andrea, because we were in the same calligraphy class, and oh man, did we love that class. It was super duper.
Well, I got something to show you. Do you regret?
Oh,
I'm sorry.
Who is
Mr.
that, Sue?
Hollingsworth.
Really?
That is him.
I was going to say that, we lived through this extraordinary transition of time where everything, I remember in I guess it was Mr. Tepich's advertising art class, actually literally making type by hand with a ruling pen.
Yes.
Excruciating.
Yes.
I'd go home and do that in tears because it would smush at the last minute, But we went from that world into computers where people do the same work and never touch art materials anymore. And it feels so, it feels almost impossible to me that you can have a real feeling for what you're doing without.
You have clean hands.
Yeah.
Clean hands.
We're losing a certain kind of knowledge. You need that hands-on knowledge.
That's not totally true, because I teach cartooning, and the students have to buy tracing pads, layout pads, Bristol board. All the work they do in my class, in my cartooning class, is all by hand. Students will ask, can I do digital? I said, not right now. You could do digital later, but for now, for the next 6 to 8 weeks, you're doing nothing but using HBs, 2Bs. You're going to just use pencil, and you're going to use an ink. So no digital. And when I teach advertising, the students do anything, go onto the computer before they get into InDesign or Photoshop or Illustrator.
Well,
pencil sketches. They have to do their layout first. They have to do
the best.
It's not really true, though, that you can't do anything by hand digitally anymore, because I recently took a class in web design and, learned the Adobe Creative Cloud suite and all that. And I bought a graphic pad, a drawing pad.
Yeah.
And the pen lets you, it's pressurized, and it lets you, draw lines and contours and different, you have a lot of control of the pen, and you're really drawing just like you were drawing on a piece of paper. You just have to get used to it. You know, it's not like you're totally you don't have to be totally disconnected from your eye and your hand if you're doing digital art. That's all I'm trying to say.
I have some.
And we also
But I still
were
think this physical
we
stuff.
also
is
involved in a
important.
cultural revolution. And we
Yeah.
didn't really mention that, but I remember walking with Dr. Spock and protesting the Vietnam War. And I walked with him the whole march, and the next day I saw him again, and I was shocked. He said, "Cheryl, how are you? Come over here." And I walked with him again. And we went through a fashion change, a political change, a technological change, and we evolved in so many different ways. And me, coming from North Queens, met a diverse group of people. It was as if a world opened up to me. I came from white bread, and I saw all these different people, and we were so ahead of our time. And I have to say that it was unique, it was mind-changing, and in a way it was hard because my friends were still way back here going to the local high school, and here I was experiencing all these different things, and it made it a little bit hard to connect, but it made us who we are, and it was a wonderful thing.
I always say it was interesting because some of my best friends back in high school were, I don't know if you guys remembered Teddy. He was one of the design majors, and Marcelo, he was also.
Polanchek, Teddy Polanchek?
No, Teddy.
He was so cute.
Teddy was like Mr. Hollingsworth, very dark. Okay, it was Teddy, and it was Marcelo, and it was me, and I remember Robin, and I remember us walking down the street arm in arm. And here was a nice black man, you know, 2 white girls and a Puerto Rican. But we were the best of friends. And that was the way we came out. Everybody was the same. It didn't make a difference. We were all the same. But as far as what Alan is saying, I feel the same way because I now teach 1st through 5th grade. And one of the things when I teach the kids also is everything is built out of shapes. You know, I'm in an art classroom, everything is shapes. The first thing I draw on the board is something that looks like a light bulb. And I say to the kids, okay, so what is this? And the kids say a light bulb. I said, no, it isn't. I said, who knows Tweety Bird? And I convert the light bulb into the Tweety Bird. Or then or the kids are learning and you know, they're making, I say, okay, when you draw a teddy bear, what shape is it? And they all look at me. I said, think about circles. Think. So, you know, I still work with the basics, which is fun. And it's fun getting the kids to create something and not on the computer. Because I see my own grandchildren are like glued to these computers, and to try and get them off of them and to say there's other things in the world besides computers. And they say, oh, Grandma, yeah. I said, yeah, I'm an old whatever. And I laugh at people and I say, you know, because now that I do the invitations and things, I'll hand-drawn monograms, but then I have to find somebody who will convert my hand-drawn monogram into something onto the computer so that it could then be printed. Yeah. So I'm really old school.
Well, I have to go. I just want to say to everybody that it was a pleasure seeing you. I hope to see you again online or off. I mean, maybe I'll see you in LA one day. My daughter lives in Westwood. And everybody else and maybe I'll see you, Meryl. My son just went to Joshua Tree in this pandemic. He went to Joshua Tree. And everybody, Nancy, I hope to see you. Everybody, I hope to see you. I don't know if I'm going to get to the islands. I'm not sure, but I'll try.
So also, Tammy, be in touch when you come east. And I'll meet you at the Bel Air.
Oh, Tammy, my roommate in college knows you. Madge Friedman was my college roommate.
Oh my God.
And we're still in touch. And guess what Madge did? She made forms for many years. So anyway, it's a very small world. We're all connected. And be well, everybody.
Be well.
Thank you, Alan. Thank you for doing this. Thank you for being such a fabulous
Thank you.
host.
Yes, thanks for being the host.
Thank you. Let's all wait at the same time.
Thanks for
Who said there was
hosting.
Madge?
All wait at the same time.
Bye.
Be
Bye.
well, everybody.
Bye.
I come back to you every once in a while. I don't know.
See you again soon.
Spoke to
I
you.
need to go also,
Yeah,
but
we're,
I just want to
anyway,
say one
let's-
thing
it's
to
been,
all of you
it's been
before I
2.5
go.
hours.
I can.
We could do this another time. This was
Yes,
great.
that would be
Thank
great.
you so much.
be great.
Ellen.
Bye.
Yes, I'm gonna go too.
I
It
just,
was a
I
pleasure
just want to
see
say,
everybody.
and I just want to say one thing.
Uh-oh.
That's
I know.
that's the phone. I guess we got to go.
Okay.
I
Bye, everybody.
just want to
Nice
say
seeing you.
that Orcas Island is very, very far away, but it's an incredibly beautiful, wonderful place. And when we are able to be back together again, I just can't imagine a better place to have a real reunion than here.
Wow.
So, you know, it's a trip and there's a ferry, but it's really, everyone who's here agrees that it's well worth it. So,
I don't want to
think
put
about
out.
having a very exotic reunion on Orcas Island.
That sounds great.
Thank you,
Okay.
I was going to say we should all thank Elizabeth because this was really a
And Renee never got on.
And
Renee
why
wanted
should
to
she join us?
quite involved also. Renee Hausberg was very involved.
That's right. You're absolutely right.
So
Yeah.
why wasn't Elizabeth on today?
In New York.
Yeah. Where is she?
Where is Elizabeth?
I asked her.
Oh,
She
last time she said she couldn't come. I don't know what she's doing on this day, but
Where is she going?
no, she's
what she does on Sunday.
Yes.
Together with her family. She has family in Hungary, and I guess they get together on
They
Sunday.
do a Zoom, maybe.
I see.
They go to their services. She's
Yeah.
used the services there. Yep.
I see.
Anthony, where is your daughter in New York?
Okay.
My daughter is in Brooklyn.
Bye. Nice seeing everybody.
Thank
Take
you.
care.
Thank you, Alan.
And
Thank you,
Bill.
Alan.
Here, guys. Bye.
Bye.
Bye.